Well, I got my brand new Hue document camera today. Thought we'd give it a try by looking at these Starfleet Battles basic map, and I kind of wanted to talk about this. I know gotten into a few different games. We've emphasized Daredevils and Mouse Ritter and Into the Odd, and also, of course, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. I know I've talked about it in some different places and different videos. That even though from November of 1979 to July of 1993, I was an avid D&D First Edition player and DM, and then I sort of let that go, but I continued to play Starfleet Battles until 1999, and only quit then because I moved back across country, didn't know anyone when I moved back who was still playing Starfleet Battles, and got involved with other stuff. But it's still a very important game to me, and so I wanted to bring it up because I got this document camera with the hopes that we might run some battles online, and then we'd have a counter. Here's a classic battle, we'll say, between a Federation heavy cruiser and a Klingon D7, and you can see the ships pretty well. But now the big thing about this camera is that I can zoom in on that, and you can see the hex numbers and the lettering on the counters, and that's really what I wanted to check. So it's not exactly perfect, but we can zoom out and get more or less the whole map, and we can zoom in and then see the counters that we want to play with. Now, I do have a larger map that has inch and quarter squares, and the counters that go with that are these. And there, of course, you get much more graphical detail, but that's the same heavy cruiser Federation versus Klingon D7. So I think that will basically work. And the other reason that I bring this up is I've made some new purchases recently. And the first of them was I bought a new Starfleet module, Starfleet Battles Module J, the fighters. And I often use the Hydrons, and so fighters are very important to me, but a lot of people didn't want to let me use them because they didn't have the rules for their own fighters. Well, now we've solved that by getting the new version of the Starfleet Battles Module J. This was redone in 2020, and I had not purchased this back in the day. This is one of the things that I didn't have. But I've purchased it now because I had heard that a lot of rules had been added into this version that didn't necessarily make it into the original module, and so this is a lot thicker with more information. And the other thing that I purchased recently is a role-playing game to go with Starfleet Battles, and this is the old Prime Directive role-playing game that came out in 1993. Now, I didn't purchase that at the time either. In fact, when I tried to run a role-playing game sort of light for people I knew that were playing Starfleet Battles with me that didn't necessarily have a lot of interest or had not played role-playing games very actively before, I ended up using WEG D6 Star Wars to run some simple role-playing scenarios, and I chose that over this at the time because I thought that WEG D6 was an easier rule set for people who weren't really that into the idea of a role-playing game, to kind of get familiar with it quickly and not get bogged down in too many rules. And so I think one of the things we might like to do is eventually get to a point where we're running Starfleet Battles with a role-playing component. And I also just recently stumbled into a portion of the website that a student-owned web page on the servers for MIT.edu, and they have developed a sort of Brownstein-like version of the Starfleet universe. So the same thing that Starfleet Battles is based on. It's really taken from the original series and the animated series, and not so much from the later Star Trek franchise television shows and movies. And it's a much different flavor of universe, in the sense that the Starfleet universe is very much a galaxy at war and about to get deeper into a major war, kind of galactic-wide war, where all the powers eventually are going to be at odds with one another. And I think we might like to pull that in as a third component, and I haven't yet figured out how to make all that work together. Yasmina will probably help me. Hello, Yasmina! And then, if that doesn't work, what we'll do is figure out a way to set up these larger hexes with the bigger counters. Anyway, this is not the video I'd planned to make, but I wanted to test out the new camera because it has a microphone on it, and I wanted to see how well it would do with picking up sound. And I hadn't done a video for a while, and so I thought this might be an opportunity to just put something together and show you guys that I'm still alive and I'm still thinking about games. So anyway, if you watched to this point, thank you very much for watching, and I promise I'm working on a video about the nature of immersion in role-playing games coming up next. After that, we'll do a video about the process model as applied to tabletop role-playing games more generally, and then I've had some new subscribers come aboard that were interested in Daredevil, so I want to make sure that I'm getting back to talking about some of the record keeping and combat systems for Daredevils, and that will really be one of the last pieces before we could, potentially start playing, because people would be able to watch the videos to get together with a character and figure out the system for combat and that sort of thing. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll hope to see you again at the next one.